And that's hard to come by because also I think in Bollywood traditionally we've not invested in our writers. I mean, until the early part of this century, they were still copying stuff from Hollywood all of the time. Those that kind of have almost the money to make product and sell product don't want to go away from the mainstream narrative, and they tend to take over individuals and artists who are coming into the industry and shape them into what they believe sells. And so it's very hard to be original as well. You are forced or you are made to believe that only one formula sells. You are bound to have product, whether it be a movie or actors, that do look like clones of each other because they're being told and conditioned. There has been a cost to speaking my mind. That happened, 7-8 years ago. I spoke truth to power, and that does have its cost. But look, that cost is only professional. But on a personal level, it's liberating. More people from the industry are speaking up. Like I felt, I stopped speaking up at some point because I was alone, at least as an actor. It's like, what's the point? If it's just going to be me, it's eventually going to look like I'm screaming for X, Y, Z reason, then you could easily smear me, and people have tried to smear me.
Hi Abhay, welcome to Hindustan Times. Let's talk about JL50. So this genre, sci-fi and time travel, stuff like this, Indian filmmakers generally shy away from it. Why is India so afraid of picking up this genre?
Well, I think, first of all, science fiction is something that's tough to do, especially when you put time travel into the mix. I think the perception of science fiction is also that it needs to be a big budget, laser beams, guns, and UFOs. It's tough to write something, and that's what I liked about JL50, and that's another reason why I did it, was because while it travels through time and falls into the science fiction category, it was very high on concept. The writing was very crisp, and so there's a dramatic element to it that is very rarely seen in a sci-fi movie because, again, like we said, science fiction tends to be about the action and the location and the production and the scale. And I think that's why people shy away from it, because it's an investment. And in order to make something science fiction affordable, then it has to be really good writing, very crisp. And that's hard to come by because also I think in Bollywood traditionally we've not invested in our writers. Until the early part of this century, they were still copying stuff from Hollywood all of the time. So I think it's taken a while. The writing department has taken a beating. Now, of course, with the OTT platforms and people screaming for change, you see a lot more quality writing coming up now. So I think lacking good writers is another reason why we don't venture away from the formula. Those that kind of have almost the money to make product and sell product don't want to go away from the mainstream narrative, and they tend to take over individuals and artists who are coming into the industry and shape them into what they believe sells. And so it's very hard to be original as well. There's tons of reasons why people don't do science fiction in Bollywood. So these are just a few of them.
So what you're saying is everybody's a clone of each other.
Well, everybody's a clone. You can simplify it and say that, sure. But the truth is that in an environment where you are forced or you are made to believe that only one formula sells, you are bound to have product, whether it be a movie or actors, that do look like clones of each other because they're being told and conditioned that this is what sells. So how can you see when individuality is taken away, when creativity is only directed in one direction? It's not that Bollywood isn't creative, it's just one kind of creativity. But when everybody's forced to only conform to that formula, then yes, they will look like each other. No? But, yeah.
So in this scenario, does digital mean democratic for you, in terms of making films?
It's definitely democratizing, no doubt. Because if you're on a platform, let's say you're on a Netflix, and it doesn't matter whether it's an independent movie or a mainstream big Bollywood production with stars in it, Netflix will market both because it's in their interest to get audiences for both product. Whereas if you were to go on a multiplex or the single screen cinemas, like in multiplexes, if a theaters, if there's 5,000 screens out there, a mainstream film will take over 4,500 of them and leave 500 of the rest of us. There's no governmental support to ensure that there's a more level playing field like Canada and France have, for example. something the government did with NFDC through the 70s and the 80s. So an OTT platform is limitless because theaters, multiplexes are finite, and it is in their interest just to sell seats and popcorn. Um, a digital platform is infinite. It will inherently by nature give equal opportunity. The reason why I was able to make films and release films like Manorama and Ek Chalis and Devdi and Oh Lucky was because the multiplexes were just coming up at that time, and there was for a moment more exhibition space than there was product. But as soon as the idea caught on that we have more cinemas, then the greed of the powers that be took over, and the insecurity of the theater owners took over and gave it away to just what they believe would sell. Did not want to take the risk to create another industry or an alternative, because at the end of the day, it's all about making money. So that is not, again, the problems that a digital platform will have. It is in their interest to.
Also, do you see this, the way OTT platforms have grown in the last, few years, especially during pandemic? You think it is going to change the way Hindi films are made? Bollywood films are made? Will we see more diversity?
The reason why you're seeing shows like a Delhi Crime or I Can Make something like What Are the Odds is because of the OTT platforms. Bollywood is a genre, okay? You have to understand that. It's a genre. When you say Bollywood, you think bright colors, beautiful women, muscular men, music, action, drama, romance, all of it. With the OTT platforms, you don't have to have song and dance and everything, especially when it comes to shows. So if you watch a Delhi Crime, Bollywood would never make Delhi Crime. Where's the item number? Where's the hot chicks? Where's the Bollywood's formula is also all the peripheral characters are just there to pad the hero and heroine. Whereas in a show, you have all these other characters and all of them are given equal importance and all of them are developed to be realistic and relatable. So you would not see that in Bollywood. So you will continue seeing the mainstream films, no doubt, but now you'll have an alternative, and that's only because of the OTT platforms.
We recently saw Bobby Deol also making his debut on OTT. Have you watched any of the film or the show, Ashram or Class of '83?
I've been traveling.
Okay.
No, I've been traveling, so I haven't been able to. I'm going to catch it now. Now that I'm settled at home, I'm going to watch both of them.
I'm curious, which place do you call home? Or is there a place that you call home because you're always traveling?
I don't know either. I don't know either. It's a good question. I'm a global citizen. I'm very fortunate that I can be. I don't have one particular home. And I'm glad that I've been a part of many cultures so that I'm not defined by any one of them.
Great. Okay, moving on to your social media presence. In fact, it is an extension of the person you are. You have always been very vocal, and that is what you take to Instagram also. So is there a cost to speaking your mind?
There has been a cost to speaking my mind. That happened, what, 7-8 years ago. I spoke truth to power, and that does have its cost. But look, that cost is only professional. But on a personal level, it's liberating. So I have the privilege of having a good family and being a man, that I could take those chances. Yeah, sure, it didn't take me as far as I could go. But I think it's because I grew up in a film family and I saw fame up close. I knew that there's ups and downs and you have to sacrifice a lot of that in order to be a star. Stardom didn't interest me. But now I'm glad that the OTT platforms are here, because it's not like vocal even before they came around. Myself and sacrificing what I could have done. But it's okay, at the end of the day, if I can't be who I am, then it's not worth being something. I'm projecting an image of what I'm not. And I saw that really up close from the beginning. Even now, when I meet actors, I can see how conscious a lot of them are, in particular, and careful they are with what they say and what they do and who they see. And for me, that was always like, what's the point, But again, you have to have a lot of privilege and comfort in order to do that. And I don't expect everybody to be ready to do that. You don't know where they come from and what problems they have. And also to be enamored by fame and money, I don't blame them either, because we are brought up to believe that those things are what bring you happiness. So I can't blame people for the conditioning they have.
If you had to do it all over again, will you do it the same way, or will there be more strategizing?
I do the same way. Yeah.
That's the answer I thought I will get.
Of course, I've made mistakes as well, but it's the mistakes that teach you. You never learn from what you do right. You only learn from what you do wrong. So I would not change anything for anything.
Last few months, we have seen so many people speaking their mind. They're talking about clicks. So setting all the nepotism debate aside, do you think there will be any upside to, this social media debate? Will there be any positive change out of it?
I'm just really glad that more people from the industry are speaking up. Like I felt, I stopped speaking up at some point because I was alone, at least as an actor. It's like, what's the point? I mean, if it's just going to be me, I'm just eventually going to look like I'm screaming for X, Y, or Z reason, then you could easily smear me. And people have tried to smear me, just because I speak my mind. But when other actors started to speak out of their experiences, suddenly, all right, the heat was a little distributed. Now there are other people saying the same thing I've been saying. And that change is there. And that's there for you to see that even if it will lead to something, I don't know what and when, but the change is already here by the fact that actors feel like they have the courage or they have the security to speak up. I mean, Ravina Manoj, and of course other actors who take advantage of the situation. Good and bad in everything. Einstein came up with the theory of splitting the atom to give us energy, and he made a bomb out of it. So we'll always have good and bad out of anything that we do. So with social media too, while there will be those who will be taking advantage of it, while there'll be victims of unfair trolling, while things can be blown out of proportion, there's also going to be a platform given to voices who otherwise would not have had a platform, and voices who are being reasonable and who need to be heard. So there's going to be both. It remains to be seen if people actually, because a lot of people say a lot, we won't do this and we'll do this from now on, but do they actually act upon what they say? That remains to be seen as far as the public is concerned. But like I said, seeing actors speak out about their experiences, and this industry is tough, no doubt. No one's saying it ought to be easy, but why should not people speak of their experiences either? At the risk of being smeared. I've done it.
Thank you so much, Abhay.